How's it going, everybody? We're playing Aion again today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the game and answer a couple of questions. First thing I'm going to do is head off to the Abyss. So I did have a couple of questions asked on the last video. One was, do you still need to get Siel's aura to play? And the answer is basically yes. You're granted 1 hour a day of full access. You'll get, as is here, like 100% XP gain, no limit on drops. And after that, I forget what it cuts you down to, but basically you're not going to be able to progress too much without that. So if you're strictly casual, or you have a very limited time budget, that might work for you, just doing the free access. But once you get to, I don't know, about level 15 or so, some of the quests get a bit longer and more involved. And then there, of course, is the rating, which you'll want to give probably more than an hour for. And just the XP gain in general, if you want to level up in a reasonable amount of time, you're probably going to want to spring for that, if you like the game. So, you know, try it out, and if you're interested, then know that you can pay the subscription and play this basically as much as you like. The other question that was asked was, can you play this in Germany or the EU? And I believe you can, because I've heard some talk about players from Europe being on here. But there is only one server for this whole game, and it's a NA, North American server, so a lot of the timing for the raids and just general population playing is probably going to be not the most convenient time if you're based out of Germany or Europe. So yeah, it just depends on what your hours are. I suppose if you're a night owl, you like to play 3 in the morning or something, you might catch the rest of us. This is currently a weekday, so it's typically a quieter day. It's when I like to sneak out to the Abyss and try to get some points. I'm still not really strong enough to avoid getting ganked. Typically, if the enemy approaches me, I just gotta run like hell. I do have a crown to turn in. You can get these ancient crowns that give you quite a bit of Abyss points. That's your PvP ranking. And there are 2 different places to redeem them. One is back at your home base in the Abyss, which in my case would be Primum Landing. That's the Asmodean side. But if you're feeling more adventurous, you can go into the core, and somewhere roughly around here, I think, you can save locations and just tips in this little notepad. If you forget where something is, like Black Cloud Island, click on it. See, it's heading out there. So you don't have to keep everything memorized, you can just save it here. The spot we're at is the main layer teleporter between the zones, and it's shared with the enemies. You can see the other side here. Those are all enemy NPCs, and the Helios, the other faction, will come flying up out of this tube and land on that other side, so you can see each other. So fighting mobs right here is easy to do, but you never know when somebody's going to sneak up behind you. This here is a Kisk. This is a resurrection point. Usually seeing a Kisk lying around would indicate that the Helios have not been here recently, because they would probably come by and destroy this thing. So let's just try getting a couple of points real quick. See what the combat is like. So I'm playing a Templar. That's the tank, basically the sword and board. If any of you are familiar with this game, you're probably already saying this guy's pretty bad, just by the way he fights. It's been quite a while since I've done anything serious with this game, so to a degree I am just kind of relearning the basics. still learning how to run around in combat, which is key. If you stand there like a bump on a log, they're just going to cut you to shreds. But if you can move around a bit while you're fighting, it really helps. So what do we got? Oh, we have not gotten any drops yet. So you know what? Let's move along there. Let's do a little more exploring. Let's try heading out to the core. See if anybody's out there. If not, maybe I'll turn in that crown. So you can see we have these different forts here. We're actually doing pretty good. We got 3 out of the 5 upper forts. Yesterday we had 4 of them, so it looks like one of them got flipped recently. If you own those forts, there's special vendors in there that can give you some stuff that you can't get anywhere else. So there are reasons you want to own those forts, and not just the vendors. There's actually instances, pretty lucrative instances that will give you more AP. Oh, can I get this node? Oh, not quite. Takes a long time to be able to farm these ether nodes out here. So you can kind of see the abyss core coming up there. As you approach the core, you really got to watch for the higher level players. A lot of them will hang out right around here, waiting for people like me to try and turn in some of these crowns. Like I just got these wings that they gave me quite a bit more flight time, but it cost almost everything I had. It was like 900,000 kina, I think, for these wings, and these are like the most basic for just 30 seconds extra flight time. If you do actually get a really extended flight time, like 3 or 4 minutes, you can fly directly between the layers. Like from lower abyss, you can just fly straight up on your own and don't have to pay the teleporter. Okay, going down into the core is kind of a commitment. You have to fly all the way down there, so I kind of got to make sure I got some flight time. This is the riskiest part right here. It's just hanging out at the edge. Talk to my pet for a minute. This little pet here, the potbelly inquin, is pretty cool. It can get you coins. You see this little meter here. Every 10 minutes or so, you can play with the pet or groom it or train it, and it gets this meter filled up. And once it does, he hands out a couple of these cool little coins, and those coins you can redeem for certain gear. They're fairly decent gear. Let's go ahead and make the dash down here, down into the abyss core. If you ever see these little rings here, these things, if you fly through them, they'll increase your flight time. They're kind of like little pathways in the air. Flying straight down. There's a fort down here, so you don't want to fly right down into that. Looks like nobody has captured that fort right now. It's owned by the Balaur. Balaur is the third faction. Sorry, I keep flipping the map open and closed. This is actually a 3-faction game. There's the 2-player factions, and then there is the computer-controlled faction, the Balaur, which is all explained by the story. But basically, it's to keep things dynamic. Like if one side is not active or strong enough to take a fort, eventually the Balaur will come along and capture it. Just keep things going. I'm checking where this crown Shugo is. What's his name? Momo Rivernurk? Yeah, the Shugos have hilarious names in this game. Thankfully, I don't see anyone out here. I think I picked just about the right time. But the final test is actually getting right next to the guy, because there could be an assassin right there just looking at me. Invisible, just watching me approach. I'm gonna go ahead and say I think I got it though. Yeah, I got it. He would have got me by now. Let's turn in this crown. I have a major ancient crown, I believe, right? Major ancient crown. Yeah, so this guy down here will give you more points. See, 9,600. If you turn it in back at Primum, I think it would only be like 9,000. If you turn it in these, it's worth it to get down here. But since I'm down here, I'm gonna get out while it's still safe and just wrap up this video here. I'm sort of late to the party on this. This game actually came out last summer, so there is quite a bit of information already online about Aion Classic. It should be fairly easy to research. Of course, I'm happy to answer any questions that I'm able to. But mostly, I just kind of want to show you my playthrough, talk about what I find interesting, and that is all for now. Catch you guys on the next one.